Dave Johnson. I'm very excited to have Brody Craney on the call tonight. Brody is one of the pioneers, the leading authorities on a breakthrough product. It's been clinically proven. It's all natural, no side effects, and it's for bone and joint health. And as a contrast, I was reading a magazine article, and let me just share this with you. And this is an ad that you would never want to put. This is your worst nightmare as far as putting a magazine out that says this: an important correction from Boniva for women with postmenopausal osteoporosis. And it says, you may have seen an ad about Boniva for the treatment and prevention of postmenopausal osteoporosis that may have given you the wrong impression. Imagine that. Our ad stated that after 1 year on Boniva, 9 out of 10 women stopped and reversed their bone loss. The FDA has found that there is not enough evidence to support this statement and wants us to clear up any misunderstanding you may have had about those ads and make sure you have the correct information about Boniva. Let me say, I think Brody will share the correct information about Boniva.
Yeah.
But that says, just to kind of lay it out, Boniva has not been proven to stop and reverse bone loss in 9 out of 10 women and is not a cure for postmenopausal osteoporosis. Boniva has been shown to help increase bone mass in regard to brittle bones, and help reduce the chance of having a spinal fracture break. We encourage all patients to discuss their treatment with Brody Craney. Oh, excuse me, with your provider. Oh, wow. Only your doctor and maybe common sense can determine if Boniva is right for you, but I'll turn it over to you, Brody. But I think we're going to really be informed and educated on some better options, in my opinion.
No sweat, Dave. For those of you tuning in right now, we're going to be talking about these items right here. We call it the Bone Health Pack. They come all wrapped up in one bundle. We'll talk all the way from dosages. We'll talk about why people are looking for something safe and natural like this. We'll talk about all the massive amount of things that our bones actually do in affecting our bodies. Let me move over to a PowerPoint here presentation so we can kind of stay on track. And folks, I'm going to move through this information absolutely as fast as I possibly can. There's a lot here. I don't want to bore you. You may want to watch some of this again. But what we're going to talk about is clinically proven. There are millions of doses of this that people have used, completely safe. The reason people are looking, there are a lot of people who are concerned about their bone and joint health, concerned in major ways, because as we age, we begin to realize that, man, sometimes we feel our body when we don't want to feel our body. And when the bones don't work and the joints don't work, we can't be on the playground anymore. And sometimes we can't be on the playground with our children or our grandchildren. And we begin to realize just how important that internal structure that we don't really feel until it's in trouble can be for our lifelong ability to have quality of life. When you've got arthritis going on and you've got bones that become brittle, we start looking for solutions. And the challenge that we're having is that people haven't found viable solutions. So they get nervous. They go to their doctor, who they hope will rely and have some great information. And the doctors are hoping and relying that the pharmaceuticals they're giving out are going to be safe for people. But what we're finding is there's a whole wide array of side effects that come from the various medications. This is just a short list of side effects from some of the arthritis medications that people are taking. My brother remarried, and his wife, she lost her first husband in his mid-40s, went into a doc just for a standard checkup, physical, mentioned that he had a little bit of stiffness in his hands, and the doc said, hey, we've got a new drug out here. Why don't you try this? Gave him some samples, and lo and behold, 4 months later, his heart stopped ticking and never started again. And it took 10 years for them to take that drug off the market. And I just really encourage people. I don't have to encourage people anymore. We're finding there's a lot of folks who are they're nervous about the side effects of medications. They're looking for something else. They want something that's safe. On the other end of the spectrum of bone health from arthritis, we have here people finding that the drugs that are supposed to be strengthening bones, the largest bone of the body, the femur, actually becoming more brittle in about a 5-year period. And Consumer Reports, which is historically, well, they've done things for rating cars and TVs and electronics. They're even starting to rate drugs now. And they're saying beware of several of these drugs. The bisphosphonates, they're causing problems, and they're not what they're all cracked up to be. In fact, sometimes they're cracking us up in ways we don't want to crack up. So what we're going to talk about is this group of products here called our Bone Health Pack. Millions of doses sold, 6 major patents, clinically proven, FDA approved with GRAS status, which means generally regarded as safe. It's effective, ideal for all age groups. It's made up of 3 components. The item on the left I'm going to call the taxi cab for the gut. And the item in the middle I'm going to call the taxi cab to get things into and out of the bones. And the item on the right, Caldense, I'm going to call the person being taxi cabbed around, the stuff that we've got to get in and out. And we're going to tell a story of these folks and lead up to why bones are important in ways way beyond the structure of our skeleton. So the good news in all of the dosages of this stuff, millions that have been out and used by people, there are no reports of any negative side effects, any long-term nature from these technologies. Now, that's what's happened in terms of the manufacturer. I will tell you that I've had a couple people when they first got on them, that they got stiffer just a hair their first couple days, in which case take it every second or third day for your first 2 or 3 weeks to allow the body to go through a cleansing process. But this stuff is safe. It is amazing. And one of the interesting things is that because bones are related in so many ways that we'd never thought of before to the rest of our body, we're actually having people get on this product that are having a multitude of health benefits in other systems of their body. And we're going to attempt to outline why and how that takes place. So let's start back off with your body, your bones. Why are your bones so dang important to your overall health? Well, we know that your bones make it so we can move and wiggle and shake and rattle and roll and dance and all that good stuff. That's how we move our jaws, because a bone is attached to a muscle, all that type of stuff. Without our bones, we'd just be a blob mass of nothing. So we need our bones to be able to shake, rattle, and roll. We need our bones to be our helmet, our shield, our protection, if you will. Protect our brain, our heart, our vital organs. They keep us safe. And but the next part, our bones, we often don't think too much about this. Our bones are a manufacturing facility, and they produce some really important things for us. We like oxygen. We like to get to all different parts of our body, and that is transported, if you will, through red blood cells, which are produced where? In our bones. And our white blood cells, those are produced in our bones. And, you know, we've heard of people who are anemic, who are seeking help. I've never heard of a doctor telling someone who's anemic that they need to work on their bone metabolism or their bone health. And that's because up to this point, we haven't had anything that can make a major difference for someone's bone metabolism or bone health and make any impact there. Now, you've often also heard of people who have challenges with their immune system. I had an autoimmune condition that originated from a mosquito bite when I was in the West Indies. And I've never heard anybody tell me that I could improve my immune system by improving my bones. Well, it only makes sense because your immune system, a big chunk of it, is manufactured in your bones. I've now had to date with people getting on this technology, and I'm not advertising this is the reason for taking this product, and that any claims are here, but I will tell you as a side effect of taking this product, I've had many people report their blood work coming back into shape, even to the point of a gentleman down out of Florida who had what he was told was a rare genetic blood disorder that was going to not only make him tired and fatigued and wipe off 10 years of his life, but there was nothing that they could be done about it. He got on this bone health pack when he realized that his blood was produced in his bones, and all of his symptomology went away, and he got off 10 years with the meds that he'd been on and living an absolutely wonderful normal life. I've got people that have been anemic. I've got people that have had problems with white blood cell count, just some wonderful changes, and typically within short periods of time. And by short, I mean under 4 and 5 months, seeing big changes in their blood work. Wonderful things there. Now, there's another thing that happens with our bones, and I need you to really think carefully on this. Our bones, if you will, make up a bank, and this bank stores minerals, trace minerals, calcium, phosphorus, etc. Now, when you think of a regular bank in a city, we go to the bank to make deposits, we leave stuff there, and then later on we go to make a withdrawal. If we're going to talk about foreign currencies, if a Frenchman wants to do business in America, he first must go to his bank and make a deposit with his euros. And then later on, he can make a withdrawal if he wants to do business in America. He can make a withdrawal, taking this money and converting it into a different form. And what happens is now that money is converted to dollars instead of euros, and those dollars are understood. They're recognized in this metabolism known as the United States of America. Well, within our body, we take in calcium, but our body does not know what to do with it. It first must go to the bone bank, and it is stored and left there for years, and then the body metabolizes it, and in the process of bone remodeling takes it out, and your body uses bone calcium for many things. For instance, your body requires 100 to 150 milligrams of bone calcium every single day just to make your brain work. All the synapses, all that type of stuff. Every nerve impulse throughout your entire body requires bone calcium, and it's metabolized, taken from your bones to make all those signals work every single day. Your heart requires 100 to 150 milligrams of bone calcium every single day just for your heart to keep pumping. That muscle, every single muscle impulse requires that bone calcium. And if you don't have it, sometimes we get people that have, if you will, irregularities in their heartbeat. I've had people, one of my first experiences was a gentleman that his father had passed away from problems with atrial fibrillation. And he got on, the son found out when he turned 40, he had 2 little kids under the age of 3. His father had died at age 45, and Garth was I want to say 41, and realized that he now had the same condition that his father had, and his father passed away at 45, and he said, "Man, I don't want to leave my kids without a daddy." Well, I told him we'd had some people already reporting getting on this bone health pack that they had seen significant changes for some of their heart issues. And he got on this, and he had no more problems with this irregular heartbeat. And again, I'm not making any medical claims here, but this seems to be an interesting side effect from getting your bone metabolism working. And will it work for everybody in that case? I don't know, but safe, natural, effective, worth a try. Your kidneys, your liver, another 100 to 150 milligrams of bone calcium every day just to make those things function. Your digestive tract, this is a huge calcium hog. 600 to 800, again, 600 to 800 milligrams of bone, not dietary, but bone calcium required every single day just to make your digestive tract function normally. And we've got a boatload of people out there that have significant digestive issues. And I can't tell you countless people who've gotten on this bone health pack and had amazing changes in their digestion. And I do mean life-changing changes for their digestion. Muscles, every single muscle contraction, not just your heart. Your heart's a pretty important muscle, but every single muscle contraction requires bone calcium. And so we see people that have aches and discomfort sometimes that getting on this bone health pack have some big changes. But folks, this issue of bone health is a major, major challenge. We have over 12 million Americans with osteoporosis, 40 million Americans with osteopenia. Maybe to put this in perspective, you've got normal bone health and it starts to get thinner or more Swiss cheese-like or more brittle. That means you're dropping down into what they used to call osteopenia. And then you drop down into what they call osteoporosis, which is really, really bad bone health. it's all the same disease. In fact, they're making an effort right now to get rid of this designation of osteopenia because people aren't taking it serious enough, and they're trying to just call it all, osteoporosis. But so we have these different degrees of challenges there. Then we have another 66 million Americans with joint-related issues. Folks, that's over a third of our population. A third of our population who hurt. And if you don't think there's people out there that can benefit from this and need it, you may be the only source to be able to help them understand the power of this technology. Bone health, osteoporosis, osteopenia can be a silent killer. Many people who have it don't know that they have it. It's not that they suddenly wake up and they hurt. That particular condition, they don't hurt unless they've already had vertebrae that have collapsed. Literally, they'll just be walking along, a bone will break, and then they'll fall, and there's a huge percentage of them that never fully recover. There's a huge fatality rate because of other complications. And the big problem is that the risk is growing dramatically. Studies indicate that our teenage youth are at a massive risk for osteoporosis. That bone density is coming back roughly 25% less than one generation before. Well, some people blame it on diet. Some people blame it on lack of sunshine, lack of exercise, all those types of things. I just want to take one concept of there and help drill this home for you. We have a much more acidic lifestyle than ever before. And the way we eat, the processed foods. I'm going to take one example, and that being sodas. I wish they would just advertise them properly instead of calling them by the numerous titles they have for these soda pops to try to make them attractive. I wish they would just put right across the top something solid and bold and call it phosphoric acid. We go to drink the stuff in, 10 minutes later, it hits the bloodstream, and the blood starts to wig out. Now, why does the blood wig out? Because your blood has a very narrow level of tolerance, level of tolerance for pH change. It's supposed to be at 7.365. If it drops down to 7.3, you're sick. 7.2, you're hospitalized. 7.1, you're dead. And so when you take in a soda pop and that acid comes into the bloodstream and the blood starts freaking out, the alarms go off. Acid attack. What do? Well, we got to go find the most plentiful alkaline source available to counterbalance this pH discrepancy. And so we grab it out of the bones. We're grabbing this calcium out to become a buffer, if you will. Calcium and phosphorus bonds. It's more than just calcium. But at any rate, what ends up happening is that levels things out and we're okay until an hour later when we take the next soda pop or the next processed food or whatever it is. And on and on and on, we're depleting that bone supply, literally to the point where we've had 16-year-olds get hit on the football field, break a bone, go to the doc, and be told you will not play again because of how brittle their bones are. So we're going to discuss how we get new bones, where they come from, how the body naturally does this, and maybe how to make some fixes in this process. You get 10 new sets of bone in the average lifetime, 5 of those sets before the age of 20. That means after the age of 20, there's only 5 more sets. So if you live to 70, about 10 years instead of every 4 years getting new bones up to the age of 20. Now it's taking 10 years to get them. We'll talk about the factors that play a role in this. So in this first picture on the top here, you see bone, this yellowish, orangish picture, and you see this purple character. I'm going to give this special cell a name. And some people think this cell is bad when they see that it's eating away the bone, but it's not bad. It's amazing. It's very purposeful. This cell, I call it Pac-Man. If you can remember Pac-Man going along and eating up all the little dots in the mazes. This is Pac-Man going and eating up all the old brittle parts of your bone. It's natural as your bone goes through changes that it becomes older and more brittle. And this is your body's natural remodeling process of getting rid of a wall in your house, in your bone, and they're going to replace it and remodel it. So first we have to eat up the old brittle bone. In this picture right here, the second one, you see that the body doesn't just eat and discard. It does not just eat and discard. But that's where the body distributes this stuff after it's now been metabolized, changed, transformed, having these metabolic markers to release it to the rest of the body. And there's a really, I mean, that's where the calcium comes from to feed the brain, heart, liver, kidneys, digestive tract, all those types of things, even hormonal balances. I've got an article here that, let's see, it's titled "Bones Offer New Hope for Diabetes." And you think, well, how can that be? There's a Professor Gerard Carcenti out of the University of Columbia. And he found that one of the substances in the bone that is released in this process of Pac-Man eating away, it's called osteocalcin. And they did these studies with these mice, finding that if you have enough osteocalcin, enough of this stuff being released from the bone, it actually stimulates pancreatic cells to produce more insulin, your body's natural way of balancing out blood sugars. And the study went on and proved it. It said that not only does it help the pancreas produce that, but it makes all the other cells more sensitive to the insulin that's being released. So people that have blood sugar issues, problems, become insulin resistant. Their cells don't recognize the insulin being produced. This stuff apparently in this study showed that the cells became more sensitive to the insulin being produced. One of the synopses here says, increasing the activity of osteocalcin also prevented the development of type 2 diabetes and obesity in the mice. So this process being very, very important here. Let's go on here. A new character, a new cell that has a big fancy name. I'll let you read that there, but I'm going to call him Surfer Dude. Surfer Dude slides along the surface of the bone until it finds the divot. And when it finds a divot, it calls all of its buddies over and says, hey guys, why don't you get over here? Let's have a party. Let's build some new bone. So you have Pac-Man who eats and distributes, and you have Surfer Dude who builds new bone. Remember this, and remember how this scenario works for later in the presentation. So we're told that there are some things that we can do that may help with our bone health. And it's certainly common sense that physical activity is important in our lives. They've actually found that, if you will, a jarring or a movement, walking, is really, really important for being able to get good bone health. They found that medications are not good for your bone health. Every single, well, I shouldn't say every, over 99% of all pharmaceutical medications are acidic. So it's just like taking a nice tall glass of phosphoric acid and then having to rob the bones of calcium in order to be able to make that replacement and balance out the pH in your body. There are certain medications which are even more detrimental to your bones. Inhalers, some heart medications, cancer medications, in many cases devastating to bone health. There's a myriad of them, but medications, just the more, some people say, oh, I'm totally healthy, I don't have any bone health problems, yet they're on 5 to 10 medications a day, and with every pill, they're rotting away their bone health. Weight issues. Too much weight can be detrimental to our joints. Big problems there. And then you've got the problem that comes when some people get so frustrated with their weight that they go and get these surgeries on their stomach to shrink them or put bands around them. And then they find that they're called bariatric patients after that, they can't absorb. And they're finding roughly 5 years into that the bones, the small bones in their body, their hands and their feet, becoming brittle and breaking like twigs. Can you be too skinny? Yes. Contrary to Hollywood's popular opinion, we need a little weight on our body to create some weight-bearing activity. And those who are too ultra skinny, whether it be through malnourishment or not enough weight on the body, are at a higher risk for osteoporosis and osteopenia. Our acidic lifestyles, they're in trouble. If you go to a store, I'm going to encourage you to shop not at fast food and not at most restaurants, but if you can shop in the outer aisles of your grocery store, preferably finding things without herbicides, pesticides, nitrates. You might have to take the extra 10 minutes to prepare yourself instead of just sticking the box in the microwave, but cook a meal, and it is much less acidic on your system and much more healthier for you and your bones. They say that soy is bad for your bones. Age. They say age is bad for your bones. And you know, these things are all important. They're common sense things, but I'm also going to tell you that they're not the leading factors in my experience. I know a gal, she used to run marathons, was a cheerleader in her younger years, never had been on medications, no weight issues, acidic lifestyle. She cooked all of her stuff from scratch. At the age of 35, she had 5 fractures. So it wasn't because of her lifestyle that the problem had been caused. What's causing the problem? Well, tune in. Men, by the way, you may think, oh, I don't have to worry about bone health or bone density. That's a woman's issue. Not so. In fact, men are more likely to have osteoporosis than prostate cancer. This is a very real issue for both of the genders, and so you want to pay close attention. We have a skeleton here on the left, top left, tall, erect. My very first bone seminar, I had a gal come in and she said, help. I said, what? She said, I've lost 2 inches. She was taller than me. And I thought, well, how can that be? She says, well, she'd had these compression fractures where the bones in your vertebrae stacked on top of each other, one in the middle just disintegrates, if you will, turns to powder, turns to dust, and kaboom, they collapse. And you start to see on here how there's height lost, not only because of bending over, but look at what happens between the rib cage and the pelvis as we go from this first picture to the second to the third. Those vertebrae literally disintegrate and can be completely gone. Well, we lose height. We can impinge nerves, which could hurt a whole heck of a lot, but also make it so that the signals from the organs getting to the brain and brain to the organs just don't work. And then, I mean, look at this third picture here. You find people that there's not enough room for the organs to do what they could when you had tall, erect structure. And so there's just a lot of problems that end up coming as people find themselves in this state. And I will tell you that the time to deal with this is not when you're old and bent over. Now, do we see changes and benefits with our product there? Yes. But all in favor of prevention say aye. I mean, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's been said that $1 in prevention is worth over $15 of after-the-fact treatment. That was a study I'd heard that was given to us by the World Health Organization. So put that in real dollars. You can choose to spend $10,000 to be well. Do things proactively. I mean, we already know that brushing your teeth is a whole lot better than tens of thousands of dollars of dental work and losing your teeth. But we need to wake up and take on that concept for the rest of our body and do things to prevent these degradations. So some people have gotten to the point where they say, I do want to prevent it. I do want to try. And the biggest thing we've heard in that arena is calcium supplementation. The problem is calcium supplementation doesn't seem to work. People have been going at it natural means. They try to get their calcium from their greens. I had some vegans that we did bone health scanning on, and they were all excited because they thought they were going to be in a great shape, but they actually weren't. People say, oh, I'm just going to go drink more milk. You hear the commercials, milk does a body good. Milk builds strong bones. Well, that's a great slogan, but the fact of the matter is we drink more dairy and consume more dairy and drink more milk than any other nation in the world, yet we lead the world in degenerative bone diseases. Milk is not solving the problem. Fortified food, supplement. Let me talk about supplements real quick. You can go back 40 years, people said, here, take some calcium. And then the marketing gets in, and they say, well, the calcium's not working, you need calcium with magnesium. And then 5 years later, someone says, well, you need it with magnesium and phosphorus, and you got to have this certain ratio. And then they say, well, you got to have it with boron. And then somebody else says, well, I've got a new brand. You need calcium, not calcium carbonate, you need calcium citrate. And they say, no, you don't need calcium citrate. Let's give you another brand that's got coral calcium. Well, no, that's not working. You need microcrystalline calcium. Well, no, that's not working. You need calcium with vitamin D. No, you need calcium with, you can go on and on and on. The latest craze has been calcium with vitamin D. And we'll show you some stats on where that's leading us now too. What they're actually finding is that there's a good indication that sometimes calcium can be harmful for you, especially if there are no taxi cabs, no transport mechanism. We used a concept before in talking about a bank. And for a Frenchman to get to his bank to begin with, he has to get into a taxi cab, a transport mechanism to get to the bank. If the calcium never gets to the bone in the first place, well, where does it land? In the kidneys, in the arteries. They prescribe a calcium channel blockers to help with things like high blood pressure, all that type of stuff. And we're getting hardening of the arteries because of possibly calcium not knowing where to go. So the issue isn't do we have enough calcium, the issue is do we have a transport mechanism to get it where it needs to go. Latest research on vitamin D is suggesting that despite all the craze and whatever type of vitamin D or D3 you're taking, it is not doing the job in preventing fractures. People go to the pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceuticals lack a site delivery system. They have limited ability to promote bone density. What that means is, if you remember Pac-Man and Surfer Dude, they're not doing anything for Surfer Dude to help him build new bone. What they do is they kill Pac-Man. They kill the cell that's designed to go and get rid of the old bone or dramatically slow it down. And so the theory is if we can just keep more of your old brittle bone around, then the scans will show that you have more bone density. The problem is maybe there's more bone density, but it's not the right bone structure. It's more brittle. So 1 year of more brittle bones, and then 2 years of even more older and more brittle bones, and then 3 years of even more older and more brittle bones, and then 4 years of older and more brittle bones, and finally the 5th year, we're showing an increased rate of fractures in some of the studies with people who are on things like bisphosphonates. A high level of challenges with side effects. This one report showed that some 50% of the patients took themselves off of the drug within their first 2 weeks because they didn't like the way it made them felt or they were nervous about the side effects. Those who stayed on had an option of signing up for some of these fun side effects. Now, at the beginning of this presentation, we showed side effects for arthritis drugs. Here are some of the potential side effects that come with osteoporosis drugs. The first one on here, jaw decay. Here's disabling pain, not severe pain. We're talking disabling pain, difficulty swallowing, heartburn. But it's okay if you have heartburn because we can give you some antacids, or we can even give you really high pharmaceutical grade stuff to try to lower that inflammation. But lower the heartburn. But the problem is the inflammation goes on in the esophagus, and then we have this huge rate of esophageal cancer. I got a whole note bound list here of what do you call it? Lawsuits that have come up against these companies because of these issues. Tens of millions of dollars for individuals being awarded because of the challenges taking place here. And many of these things, mental irritability. Well, we can give you a happy pill, chest pain. We've got pills for your heart, seizures. We've got more pills for your seizures. So sometimes one medication will lead people to 3 or 4 or 5 more. Some people say, well, at least I'm getting my medications for free. Well, I don't know if free is worth the cost that you see listed up here. And, I also heard it said that, some people get their first dose of heroin for free too, from the drug lord. Just get them hooked on there. That doesn't mean free is good, folks. We need to take a real good look at what we think and feel is best for us, weigh the risks. I've literally taken, when it comes to the osteoporosis medications, pages and pages and pages of side effects to try to narrow down some of the key ones. There's a lot that aren't even listed on these charts. And this next one, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I hope you've all had dinner already. But what you see here is a drug that's supposed to help your bones. I don't think should be doing this. They call it osteonecrosis, where the bone literally starts to rot away or die. And I don't know about you, but I really don't think that dentures are going to fix this problem. If you want to take a look at these pictures, here's right in the jaw being rotten away, the jaw rotting right through the skin. They have shards of bone that these patients can literally pick out. And these are 3 different women on here. The stats you see listed there. I just talked about one drug and the awards that are happening. But I can't tell you the number of presentations that I've gone into where people just talk about my teeth have been loose. And they wondered why their teeth got loose. And then they got on our bone health pack and all that went away. I've heard people talking about gum problems and gum diseases being radically transformed with our bone health pack. I've got an oral surgeon who uses our technology left and right because of the huge things that this does for people not on osteoporosis drugs to help strengthen what's going on. But folks, I don't know about you, but a drug that does this, I don't think is safe for the bones. It's not what I would want my mother on. So, solution time. Enter the company Niken, world-renowned research and development company originating out of Japan. An amazing track record, pioneered a concept called creating a wellness home. There are hundreds of technologies this company has to help transform your daily living. If you are looking for natural, safe solutions without medication to totally and radically transform your sleep, which is a basis and foundation for your health, talk to the person who introduced you to this, because they can link you up with the most phenomenal sleep technologies in the world. If you're looking for the best source of water in your home, chemical-free, alkaline, just radical benefits for the body and hydration, talk to the person who invited you. If you're looking for the best organic sources of supplementation, if you're looking to get rid of aches and discomforts, if you're looking for a way to naturally transform your health, talk to that person who invited you, because the wellness home concept is the most amazing thing I have ever personally seen as 20 years in the wellness industry to transform what's going on with someone's health. Now, we're here specifically to talk about bone and joint health. To start off, there are several things you can do for your joints. Watch your weight, hydrate, exercise, posture, rejuvenate, all those types of things. There are some specific products that Niken has that help in these areas. Our sleep technologies in the top left are salient to good joint health long-term. Our water technologies on the right, PyMag water. And I'm not going to give a big presentation about this, but consider our sleep technologies, our water, our wraps and magnetics for the joints. And then we have some specific joint internal supplementation and external, even to the point where there are clinical studies with major results for range of motion, being able to go up and down stairs without hurting, all those types of things. Now, for what you've all been waiting for, world-renowned medical microbiologist Dr. Naren Naidu has done major roads in toxic shock syndrome research, major roads with E. coli in the U.S. beef industry in the 1980s. He's the reason you get beef now without any chemicals in it. He solved the problem with a natural molecule known as lactoferrin, which is a foundational research that led to what we have in our product for bone health. He consults governments globally. He's on faculty in Europe, Asia, the US, a medical microbiologist, founded 4 successful biotech companies, holds multiple patents. I'm not talking about some dude with a chem lab in his garage. I'm talking about one of the world's most preeminent medical microbiologists. He has, look, and you can begin to see some of the beginnings of some of the things that he's created at nterminus.com. A bioreplenishment theory talking about natural components he's found in the body to help repair and replace and improve the quality of human life in many areas. And this technology we're going to talk about is a natural bioreplenishment technology, which he has found, the only person who's found a way to be able to get it to us in as clean, pure, and pristine forms. He found 29 different forms of lactoferrin and is the only person that's been able to isolate the one specifically for bone health. I take this technology because I was told I had an autoimmune condition and I want my bones to improve that. I take this technology because, well, I grew up on a farm, lots of herbicides, pesticides, heavy metals that were taken in and well, you can store those in your bones. This technology is a natural way of being able to get rid of those components. I take this technology, both my parents had arthritis. I don't want it. My mother, osteoporosis, she had a 10.4% increase of bone density. That's a double-digit bone density increase in under 6 months with this technology. It is a cyanoportin technology, which is phenomenal for being able to help the sac that encapsulates your joints. And not only have they found and improved that it makes major difference in that synovial area, but it also enhances the physical process of replacing bone tissue. So you see in this picture up here, someone with pink stuff missing in their hip, the pink stuff being cartilage. We've actually had people who have been bone on bone, who with in their knees and their hips, even people with shoulders. But I've got x-rays of people who were bone on bone and over the course of 12 to 14 months, producing x-rays that show tissue that is now separating that bone. And they reported and continue to report that they don't hurt. They can go up and downstairs. They can get up and out of their chair without the struggle. Massive radical transformations, folks. So moving forward with, sorry, I got to get to the next slide. There we go. This stuff is without gelatin or other animal byproducts. It's safe. All veggie caps, all that type of stuff. Countless studies done on this. The first one showed that people that have osteoporosis are losing bone too fast. Well, this slowed down. It didn't stop or kill Pac-Man, but it slowed down to a regular rate, the rate at which we're getting rid of old bone. What it did do that nobody else can do is it increased the work that Surfer Dude is doing in building new bone. And you can take a blood sample and tell, just like you can tell what's happening in your pancreas by taking the blood sample. There are serums that are released by Pac-Man and Surfer Dude that can tell you basically how much of them are present. And it showed in these tests that Surfer Dude was increased in presence by some 43% in under 15 days. Folks, that is huge. Then we got studies in the world's foremost medical journals for things like osteoporosis. So Osteoporosis International, showing that we had formation of new capillaries, our body's internal fountain of youth, if you will. And speaking of internal fountain of youth, do you know where your stem cells are produced? They're produced in your bones. A big chunk of them are produced in your bones. And if you don't want to talk about a natural fountain of youth, that is it right there. The fancy paragraph at the bottom here basically showing that in a 6-month period that we had the ability to balance out Pac-Man and Surfer Dude to the same level as when you were 20. And when you're 20, your bones are producing new bones every 4 years. How many of you know someone would like to have a whole new set of bones or joints in under 4 years? That's huge. Here's another study on inflammation. Things like interleukin 10, interleukin 1, 6, tumor necrosis factor. They can actually show things in your blood that fight inflammation. They can also show things that cause inflammation. And this technology having a dramatic effect on those to the point of increasing things that fight inflammation by 140%, decreasing the things that cause inflammation. Folks, can you think of any diseases that are linked with inflammation? Can you think of any disease that's not linked with inflammation? We're talking some really huge benefits that can come here. Some of the initial patents, and then a couple of years later, more patents and more patents. We have 18 years worth of exclusivity with this technology, folks. This is the only place you can get this technology is from and through Niken Inc., through a independent wellness consultant who can link you up. We're going to talk about how to get a registered customer account and get some of the best rates on here. Now, we, of course, need some form of calcium. We need a taxi cab, the osteodents, to get it there. I want to talk briefly about a taxi cab that will help get the calcium through your gut to your bone. Lacto. Lacto means milk. Ferrin means iron. This molecule was originally discovered and believed to be a regulator to get iron into the blood, but then they found out it was a gatekeeper and that it could actually make the body not only absorb more iron, but stop the body from absorbing iron if it had too much. Then they found out it did the same thing for the trace minerals in their body. So just taking trace minerals doesn't mean it's getting in. This is the taxi cab to make sure it gets where it needs to go in the body. They found 29 different distinct forms. They found lactoferrin in the seminal fluid, in the vaginal fluid, in the brain, in the spinal column. And there's a specific lactoferrin for your heart. There's a lactoferrin for every major system in your body. And we have 2 of them, one for the gut and one for your bones. This lactoferrin gold 1.8 is a natural antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. I've had people that have used it for significant, serious, amp up to 4 a day if you're looking to fight a significant infection and having phenomenal results. This stuff is required now in baby formula in China because of how impactful it is. It eliminates toxins and free radicals. we're even seeing big changes in fertility. Naidu's research was extensive in that. If you know somebody, I've got people that have really spent tens of thousands of dollars in fertility treatments, and literally gotten on. What you do is that you put the lady on 4 lactoferrin a day, the man on 2, and I have yet to see somebody under 3 months that hasn't had a miracle. But we just see some really great stuff going on there for those who are trying to conceive that haven't been able to. Now, those of you who are not wanting to have a munchkin, don't worry. It still requires some extracurricular activity to make those things take place. But if you know people that are struggling, this is a big deal for people that are wanting to have children. This is a study here showing about the top picture, a mouse with very frail, thin bone. And just 13 days on lactoferrin, you see all this green activity. That is the new bone material being produced. This is a chart that says you can take calcium and vitamin D, glucosamine, isoflavones, drugs, or hormones. They do a little to help in areas of bones and joints. But if you want something that takes care of all of those without the side effects, take a significant look at our bone health technology. Now, I literally could go on for hours and hours and hours upon end about the types of transformations. I have 80-year-olds who had literally documented with DEXA scans 20% increases of bone density in 6 months. Now, that's not the norm. Usually it's going to take longer than that. But that's an age group where people would be told that they would never see any improvement in their bone health, and we do. I've had people that have had changes in memory, in clarity. I've had people that have had changes, in mobility, gut health. I'm not here to say this fix everything, but I'm here to say this is the absolute most effective, safe technology that I've ever seen, and working more rapidly than what we typically see with anything that is pharmaceutical based, without the side effects. Now, the cost on this technology, $173 was its release price. Now, let me put that into perspective. You have some of these Fosamax, Boniva, Actonel, Reclass, Forteo, and by the way, they're not all bisphosphonates. There are some now that are hormonally based, or they're trying to replicate some of the aspects of thyroid medications. One of them, they're finding increasing the frequency of bone cancer in rats after 18 months. So they're telling people, well, it should be safe for you up to a year. I'm not putting my mom on that. This stuff is safe, and those medications can run hundreds. I met one gal, she was paying $2,000 a month for her bone medications. Now, there's a whole spectrum in between, but this original launch price of this technology is definitely amazingly in line. We had a feature called auto ship where people could get down to under $130, and through many changes within our company, there's a wonderful transformation. You can now purchase this product at $103.50 plus tax and shipping. Simple to get. Talk to the person who invited you here, and they can order it for you. They could also create a free registered customer account for you. Ask them how to get auto ship discounts, so you can even get it for a less price than what you see up there. And the benefit of auto ship, you don't have to worry about running out and going to the pharmacy again, or going to a grocery store, whatever it is. It's just going to arrive on a monthly basis for you. And you're getting a fresh shipment, and you can alter that shipment as you desire. You're not locked into anything when you have auto ship. Now, I want to talk about how this pack comes and the dosages to clear up any questions. This is really important to clue into. The Bone Health Pack comes in a maintenance dosage. Maintenance, to maintain whatever level of bone health you're at right now. So if you're in osteoporosis, we don't want to maintain where you're at. Well, yes, we do. We don't want you getting any worse. But wouldn't it be better to not just maintain, but to actually improve? So all of the studies were done with not one pill of OsteoDense a day, but with 2, okay? And what we found is if you have osteopenia and you want to get out of osteopenia, order the bone pack and order an extra box of OsteoDense, so that you're boosting things up and getting out of the yellow and getting up into the green stages in these bone health scans. Now, if you've got osteoporosis, if you're falling off the cliff of bone health, you've got major, major bone health issues, which you may learn through this presentation are more than just bone health issues. Your health is in trouble, you want to improve. We have some people with like osteoporosis that it's being recommended to get on 3 of the bone health packs and then get yourself out of osteoporosis to osteopenia, then go down to 2. And when you get yourself up into the green, normal bone health, maintain with just the standard baseline dosage. So talk to the person who invited you to this presentation about how to do that. Folks, you do have a choice. You don't have to just, some people just say, oh, I'm just getting old, this is normal. It's not normal. Your body normally knows how to repair and maintain. We just have to give it the tools to be able to do that. Wellness is a choice. It's not something magically created by a good gene pool. It's something that you can turn on signals on your genes. They found these epigenetic codes that through good living, we can turn on the switches to produce good health. Health is a choice, folks, and you can choose to do things to prevent bone loss. You can make a choice to make good health and your bones a part of future for you and your family, and that will affect many other things long term. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on here. Hopefully this presentation will be one that you can just pass on to other people. It'll be recorded, and if you know other people that are searching, folks, pass this information on. People need to know what we have here. Now, there's one other thing that has not been mentioned here, and that is if you want to reference Bone Site to be able to refer to, you can refer people to bonejointhealth.info. Again, that's bonejointhealth.info, and they'll see some of the studies that are listed here. They'll get references to how this works in a shorter form. But I hope this has been informative for people, and if they have questions, feel free to get a hold of me and I can answer specific concerns. Modulating lifestyle, how to take this product and win. Oh, I know one thing that I did forget, and this is important. People ask me this all the time, so we're going to go back here. When and how do you take this? I got to scoot down here just a minute. Well, I'll just use this picture right here. Right there. And share from that slide. And we need to share here. Boom. Okay. So the yellow box or the orange box, picture sunrise. Take your lactoferrin in the morning. Take the lactoferrin in the morning. The dark boxes, picture evening. Take these in the latter half of your day or in the evening. If you're going to take multiple osteodents, you may increase the use or bioavailability by spacing it by lunch and dinner or at times throughout the evening. But it's not going to make a huge difference on the spacing, but it's best taken the latter half of the day. So, okay, we got that cleared up. I think I'm done, Dave. I hope that's been helpful and that answers questions for folks. You're muted, Dave. I believe you're muted.
Thank you, Brody. That was awesome. I appreciate that.
Thank you.